Did you know that the prickly pear cactus isn't just a desert icon, it's actually a global agricultural powerhouse? With over 100,000 hectares cultivated worldwide, especially in countries like Mexico, Italy, and even parts of the US, this spiky plant produces millions of tons of edible fruit and pads every year. From its sweet, ruby-red fruits to its tender, juicy pads, every part of the prickly pear is harvested and processed with care. In today's video, we're diving into the fascinating world of prickly pear farming and factory processing. Let's get into it. Large-scale cactus plantations are usually found in hot, arid regions with plenty of sunlight, low humidity, and well-drained sandy or rocky soil. These tough little plants love to soak up the sun and thrive where most crops would tap out. That's why you'll often see cactus farms sprawling across dry zones in Mexico, parts of the southwestern US, and even southern Italy. The drier and sunnier, the better for cacti. When it comes to growing new cactus plants, people don't usually start from seeds. They go the easy and efficient route with vegetative propagation. Basically, they just snip off a healthy, mature pad from the mother cactus, let it chill and dry out for a few days, which helps seal the cut and prevent rotting, and then pop it straight into the soil. That's it. No fancy tricks, just nature doing its thing. And the cool part? That single pad can grow into a whole new cactus plant. Before planting the new cactus pads, farmers usually take a moment to measure their size and weight bigger. Healthier pads often lead to stronger plants. They also pay close attention to spacing. To keep a cactus farm thriving, farmers don't just plant and forget. They regularly enrich the soil with compost and fertilizers packed with minerals to give the plants that extra boost. Even though cacti are drought-tolerant, they still need a good drink now and then, especially during their growing phase. And of course, weeds and bugs aren't welcome guests, so farmers keep them in check with careful weeding and pest control. Some even do pruning to remove damaged pads and help the plant focus energy on new, healthy growth. Here's something you might not know: people actually eat cactus pads. Yep, those thick green spiny pads aren't just for desert decor. Farmers often harvest the young, tender pads as part of regular pruning, but instead of tossing them out, they pack them neatly into crates and send them off to processing facilities. There, the pads get a little makeover. The spines are scraped off, they're trimmed and cleaned up, and then off they go to markets where they're sold as a type of vegetable. These tender pads can be chopped into strips and tossed into fresh salads, stir-fried with eggs or meat, blended into tangy smoothies, grilled to bring out their smoky flavor, or even battered and fried for a crispy snack. As for the taste, it's pretty unique. Think slightly tangy, kind of like green beans or okra, with a juicy texture and just a hint of citrus. The flowers of the prickly pear cactus are truly a desert beauty. They're large, vibrant, and usually come in shades of yellow, orange, or bright pink, depending on the variety. These eye-catching blooms typically appear in late spring to early summer, opening up under the sun like little bursts of color on the cactus pads. And here's where it gets interesting. After the flowers bloom, they give way to the cactus fruit, also known as prickly pears. But if too many fruits start developing on a single pad, farmers will often do a bit of thinning. That means selectively removing some of the young fruits to allow the rest to grow larger, healthier, and sweeter. Cactus fruits, or prickly pears, are ready to harvest when they turn a deep, vibrant color, usually red, purple, or orange depending on the variety, and they give slightly to the touch. This usually happens in late summer to early fall, but harvesting them isn't as simple as just picking them off. Because of their tiny hair-like spines called glochids, farmers need to gear up properly. They wear thick gloves to protect their hands, use knives to carefully cut the fruit from the pad, and collect them in buckets or baskets to avoid bruising. After prickly pears are harvested, they head straight to the processing facility where the real magic begins. First, the fruits are carefully sorted by size and ripeness. Then, they're sent down a conveyor belt lined with soft rotating brushes or rollers. These gently remove the tiny, sharp glochids, those pesky hair-like spines, without damaging the fruit. Once despined, the prickly pears go through another round of quality sorting to weed out any bruised or overripe ones. From there, they're either packed whole into boxes for shipment, or in some modern facilities, the fruits are peeled, halved, and neatly arranged into trays, ready to eat. Prickly pears aren't just eye-catching, they're surprisingly versatile in the kitchen, too. Once peeled, the juicy, vibrant flesh of the fruit can be eaten fresh or turned into all kinds of sweet treats. In many regions, it's cooked down into jams and jellies, made into colorful candies, or even blended into refreshing drinks and smoothies. Some people use it to make sorbets, syrups, or desserts like prickly pear tarts and fruit salads. Have you ever eaten something that came straight out of a rice field and tasted like heaven? Crawfish might look small, but it fuels a billion-dollar industry and one of the most beloved food traditions in America. Ready to see how this mud bug goes from swamp to spicy celebration? Crawfish, also known as mini lobsters, are distant cousins of lobsters, but way smaller, only about 3 to 5 inches long. There are over 500 species of crawfish in the world, and more than 250 are found in North America alone. In Louisiana, the red swamp crawfish dominates, powering a billion-dollar industry. Each year, Americans devour over 120 million pounds of crawfish, and 90% of that comes from Louisiana. But it's more than just food. Crawfish boils are family traditions, weekend rituals, and cultural festivals. Get ready to uncover the heart, heat, and heritage behind Louisiana's most beloved crustacean. Many Louisiana farmers use a smart rice crawfish rotation, producing both crops in a single year. Crawfish season runs from January to June, peaking between March and May. During winter, these tiny creatures burrow deep into the mud, sometimes up to 1 meter, to survive the cold. As spring arrives, they re-emerge, grow rapidly, and are ready for harvest. Harvesting crawfish looks more like fishing than farming. Farmers ride small, flat-bottom boats and move quickly through the shallow ponds. They use conical wire mesh traps, tall, pyramid-shaped cages with funnel-like openings. These are baited with fish scraps or pellets and set directly into the water. Dozens or even hundreds of traps are placed each day and checked manually the next morning. Each trap can hold a dozen or more crawfish, and during peak season, a single farm can harvest over 1,000 pounds a day. That's nearly half a ton. Once harvested, crawfish are dumped into large tanks of clean, cool water, where they soak for about 3 hours to purge any mud or waste. Then come sorting workers quickly separate them by size and quality, before packing them into mesh sacks weighing 30 to 40 pounds. From there, they're shipped off to processing plants or straight to markets and restaurants. Today, Louisiana is home to over 1,600 crawfish farms, generating more than $300 million in revenue annually and across the U.S. The crawfish industry is worth over $1 billion. After harvest, much of Louisiana's crawfish is sent straight to processing plants, where the real transformation begins. First, the crawfish are weighed and sorted both manually and with the help of specialized machines. Skilled workers examine them for size and quality, removing any broken or undersized crawfish. It's a fast-paced process in some plants. A single worker can sort over 2,000 crawfish per hour. Next comes a thorough rinse to remove any remaining mud, algae, or debris. Cleanliness is key, especially when handling thousands of pounds each day. Then, crawfish are cooked in high-temperature steam chambers, locking in flavor and turning their shells a vibrant red. Right after boiling, they're plunged into ice-cold water to halt the cooking process instantly. This shock chill keeps the meat firm and juicy and helps preserve its fresh, sweet taste. At this point, the processing line splits in two. Some crawfish are packed whole head, shell, and all, and flash frozen for restaurants, markets, or export. The rest are sent to a peeling station, where skilled workers hand-peel the tails, sometimes up to 15,000 tails per shift, carefully removing the shell to collect only the sweet, tender meat. Crawfish tail meat is the most prized part, rich and flavorful. It's the heart of beloved southern dishes, like crawfish étouffée, bisque, gumbo, and po' boy sandwiches. Finally, the meat is packaged, vacuum-sealed, and shipped across the country from local diners in New Orleans to grocery stores nationwide. Can you believe over 120 million pounds of crawfish are eaten every year in the US? And most of that ends up in one epic dish. The crawfish boil, a fiery southern tradition. Giant pots are loaded with crawfish, corn, potatoes, and sausage, all drenched in spicy Cajun seasoning. In Louisiana alone, people devour over 60 million pounds a year, and some can eat 5 to 10 pounds in just one sitting. No forks, no knives, just hands, spice, and laughter. Would you try this messy, mouth-watering feast? Drop a comment below. Hold on to your party hats, because cakes are way more fascinating than just being delicious. We've been celebrating with these sweet treats for ages, but did you know just how massive our obsession is? Globally, people gobble down a mind-boggling 50 to 100 million birthday cakes every single day. That's a lot of candles. Cakes have been the life of the party for centuries, and honestly, we still can't get enough of them. Did you know that in the UK alone, people spend over 368 million pounds a year on cakes? Chocolate tops the chart as the most loved flavor, followed closely by good old vanilla. But cakes weren't always this fluffy and sweet. The very first cakes weren't fluffy at all. They were more like flat, dried grain discs. For centuries, these decadent delights were exclusively for the upper class. It wasn't until the 18th century that prices dropped, finally letting more people join the cake party. Oh, and speaking of big, get this. The world's tallest cake soared to an unbelievable 33 meters, and the most expensive one ever sold cost a jaw-dropping $75 million. Last but not least, everyone, mark your calendars, there's even a National Cake Day on the 26th of November. Now that's a celebration we can all get behind. It all starts with the finest ingredients. In most large-scale bakeries, the eggs usually come from trusted poultry farms that specialize in producing high-quality, food-grade eggs. These farms are often local or regional to ensure freshness, but some big bakeries also source from certified suppliers around the country or even internationally, depending on their standards. Once they arrive, the eggs are handled by some seriously cool machines that crack and separate them at lightning speed, yolks one way, whites the other, ready to be whipped. After the eggs are separated, it's time for the rest of the dream team to join the mix. We're talking sugar, flour, baking powder, a splash of milk, melted butter, and sometimes a dash of oil, all tossed into a giant industrial mixing bowl. Everything gets whipped together into a smooth, fluffy batter. And while classic vanilla sponge is always a crowd pleaser, things get even more exciting with flavors like matcha, zesty orange, rich chocolate, or even strawberry. Each batter has its own personality, but they all share one goal: to rise up and become the softest, most delicious cake layers ever. In many factories, the molds are either sprayed with a light mist of oil or lined with parchment paper to make sure nothing sticks, because nobody likes a cake that won't let go. Once that's done, the smooth, airy batter is poured in with precision. Automated systems take over here, making sure every single mold gets the exact right amount, no more, no less. It's time to crank up the heat, literally. The ovens are fired up, and the anticipation kicks in as we wait to see those golden brown, soft, and fluffy sponge cakes rise to perfection. These industrial baking ovens are engineered to maintain exact temperatures throughout the process, making sure every single cake is evenly baked. These fluffy cakes are sent through slicing machines that neatly cut them into even, round layers like pancake perfection on repeat. This step is super important because soon, luscious layers of cream and fruity jam will be added in between, creating that classic, mouth-watering, layered cake look we all love. Using cutting machines ensures each slice is uniform. Before the cream goes on, some slices might get a quick spritz of syrup, and no, it's not just for show. This light mist of syrup helps keep the sponge layers moist, tender, and extra tasty. And here it is, the moment we've all been waiting for. You're now witnessing the magic of how that rich, creamy, melt-in-your-mouth frosting gets made. This irresistible stuff is the superstar of the cake world. And trust us, it's as addictive as it looks. Whether it's classic vanilla, chocolate, strawberry, or something wild like mango or matcha, the flavors and colors can be customized to match any design or craving. Now comes the fun part, layering up the goodness. Those rich, creamy frostings are generously spread between the fluffy sponge layers, creating that dreamy stack of cake and cream. After the cake layers are stacked and filled, it's time to give the whole thing a sweet makeover. A robotic arm steps in like a frosting artist, smoothly icing the entire cake with a flawless layer of creamy goodness. These factories use smart systems that turning cake making into a high-tech art form. The cakes are now ready for their final glow-up, the decoration stage. With the help of advanced machines, bakers can whip up stunning designs in no time, from elegant swirls and floral touches to super intricate patterns that look almost too pretty to eat. These machines bring precision and flair, turning every cake into a show-stopping masterpiece. However, when it comes to custom-made cakes, many bakeries still prefer the magic of hand decoration. Skilled bakers with a sharp eye for detail and a whole lot of creativity take the reins, turning each cake into a one-of-a-kind masterpiece. From delicate piping to handcrafted sugar flowers, these artisans know exactly how to bring a customer's vision to life, proving that sometimes the human touch makes all the difference. The cake cutting step might happen, or it might be skipped altogether, depending on the type of cake being made. But when slicing is needed, you can bet modern factories have machines for that too. High-speed cutters take care of the job with precision and consistency, making sure every piece is just right. It's quick, clean, and way more efficient than using a knife by hand. Once those glorious cakes are baked to perfection, they're ready for their next adventure. Some of them head straight into chilled storage rooms, keeping them fresh and ready for later enjoyment. Others are immediately packaged and whisked away to stores, eager to tempt anyone who walks by. Honestly, who could ever say no to the irresistible charm of a perfectly crafted, delicious cake? I certainly can't. So, that makes me wonder, what's your absolute favorite cake flavor?